Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to Next Level Rugby's coverage of the NCR Division 1 Semifinals. We have seen a blockbuster lineup of games so far here at Penn State Berks, and we are down to the penultimate game. It is Queens up against Thomas More in the NCR D1. We saw the earlier game. Brown Bears progressed through. They had a very tight encounter with St Bonaventure, eventually winning 14 points to 9. But this one shapes up to be arguably the game of the day. And to cool it alongside myself, we have Craig Wilson in the commentary box with me. A very good evening to you now, Craig. What do we expect from these two teams?
I'm really looking forward to this. And if the day's play has got anything to do with it, it's going to be an absolute classic. And I'm really excited for this Queens team. If I'm just going to focus on them right now, particularly up front, Marshall Frank, Martin Pearce, and Josh Schwartz, to lay the foundation for then your playmakers, Hilton Olivier and Tom Key from Coventry in England, to really control the game. And about semi-finals, it's all about controlling the match as much as you can. So a lot of territory, win your set piece, build momentum from there.
That's great insight there. And it's not Lance Kavorna with the call today. It's Thomas Grant and Craig Wilson. So Lance, of course, the great commentator. But it's the contact coach and his apprentice today calling the big one. We're very excited. Thomas More pack a number of stars, and we'll take you through the Queens lineup first. Craig, there are a number of players to look out for on this side.
Yeah, really excited. As I mentioned earlier it's all about the front row, particularly setting the platform during the set piece. Marshall Frank, Martin Pearce, Josh Schwartz, and that's going to allow your playmakers like Hilton Olivier and Tom Key to really start pulling the strings at 9 and 10. But a lot of these battles are won up front about dominating the set piece. And from a Queen's point of view, those are the guys who are going to be trying to lay that foundation.
And for the Thomas More side, they certainly have a sprinkling of Argentinian flavour right across the park. They've got above 10 Argentinian representatives in their side, so certainly they will pack a lot of flavour and a lot of fierce open play in this game. And as you can see, both teams are out on the field now, and the referee is getting ready to signal underway. Have a look out for number 10, Francisco Kasuna. Here's one to look out for alongside Sian Wild, the man out of Johannesburg, South Africa. And it's almost time to get this final game underway. It is the Thomas More Saints up against the Queens Royals. And referee is looking for approval from the captains to get this one sounded in the night sky. We are underway. Your NCR D1 semi-final action. Queens up against Thomas More. And immediately going for touch. And on the attack here are Queens. And I'll just get some clarification on the contact coach. We've got a clash of strips. Run us through these strips, contact coach.
Yeah, you got Thomas More in the blue shorts, you got Queens in the white shorts, and you can see early on a bit of shape here from Thomas More, ready to get after it into their shape early on and build this momentum.
There you go, all over it. It's Queens look to send it up high, and Thomas More go for the counter attack. And the opportunity for the first line out of the game. We'll see the ball in the hands of the number 2, Martin Pearce. I'll look to feed it into the line out. As you can see, there's a little bit of a wind by the assistant referee's flag. Thomas Moore with the line out. They feed it in. It's taken down there by Elijah Doyle, but the throw is not straight, so we will have a scrum pack down. And Queens will get possession here. And a fantastic opportunity here early on for Queens, Craig, to really see what they've got from set piece this close to the line.
Yeah, absolutely. You saw there with lineouts, they're going to be really difficult today. You can see the wind blowing when you can pan out and those flags. So that's going to make lineouts really difficult. So that now puts a lot of focus on your scrum. It's got to be in semi-finals, it's got to be tight, it's got to be right, and it's going to give you that opportunity to build all the momentum you're going to get. And Queens get exactly that right now.
Here goes Olivier. Backdoor play on the wide for Cunningham. Throws the dummy and goes through the gap. Number 15, Denevi, and it's a try. Queens hit the board early on in this one. Oh, maybe not. Double movement's the call. There was a celebration for all money, but the try has been awarded. We thought that the referee was signalling double movement, but Roman Denevi, the junior out of Buenos Aires in Argentina, has got himself on the score sheet first. And how about that from set piece, Craig?
Wonderful. We all love a set piece try. And if we look back at the replay, there was a few dummy runners, and then the ball went out the back. Then it became a 2v1. Decides to go. He's got all the momentum, so he's allowed to reach out and score. And that's one from the coach's playbook. They would have been trying that all week. And what a start in the first 2 minutes to get a set piece play like that, especially from scrum. Brilliant start there from Queens.
Well, Roman Denevi, and the conversion is just short. Fantastic set piece play, the junior. 5 points to 0, and this game already showing some exciting poise as the Saints take an early lead. Queens, rather. As we look to get play restarted by Yasuna. It's taken into contact here again. Lovely run by the blindside flanker, Lewis Bush. Queens making some really strong breaks early on. Here goes Schwartz. The man out of Florida. Lovely play here is Olivier. Strong contact met by Marshall Frank. Olivier gets it off to his flank and punching on through to the ball. This is some strong carries. Here's the number 3, Schwartz. Gets the offload away, but it falls back in. Turn to Thomas Moore. Rather, Queens have kept it alive now. Here goes Key. Key punching on the offload to Scott. Magical hands from Queens. It's been turned over here by Thomas Moore. Plenty of early running in this game. Look to have lost control of it, but play on, says the referee. So Wild gets play underway again through Lally. Here goes Doyle, Elijah Doyle. Wild finds his lock, Josh Foy. Wild again, inside pass. And play on, says the referee. Thomas Moore look to have got back on the ball here after the turnover, and they have indeed. So penalty to Thomas Moore, and it looks as if number 21, Mohale Sikwila, is now starting at number 9. We had listed Sion Wild, so 21 for Thomas Moore, starting at number 9. Craig, plenty of early running in this game. Certainly, this one looks to pack some excitement.
Your Queens have started like a firecracker. They're running hard, they're running good lines. But Thomas Moore won the penalty. They've given themselves a chance to build this more now and get themselves into this game and then wrestle it momentum back for themselves.
And here go Thomas Moore. The drive has been set up with great reward as they had the penalty advantage. Sekwela wants the ball out of the ruck, and he doesn't get it quick enough, so the referee says we'll take the penalty, and Francisco Kasuna, the sophomore out of Buenos Aires, will find touch just beyond the 22-metre mark. So Thomas Moore looking to counter-punch that early Queen's try to Denevi. And we set up for the line-out. It's taken in by Foy. Jason Foy, the lock for Thomas Moore. Sequela just marshalling his troops around. Gets it off to Kasuna. Francisco Kasuna. Backdoor play to Veal. Wide pass out to the fullback, Matasassini. Matasassini takes it into contact. And Sequela gets it off to Salim. Again here through Kasuna. Plays it off to Foy again in the midfield. Thomas Moore keeping it compact. Messy ball, but it falls in the hand of Matassini again. Here goes Sequela. Gets it off to Doyle. Or rather, that is Montgomery, Hudson Montgomery, out of Reading, Ohio. Turnover has been affected by Queens, but illegally so, says the referee. So interesting to see, Craig, what Thomas Moore opt to do here.
Well, we know there's a little bit of a wind, so that might make place kicking a little bit difficult. But it looks like they've went for the line out, they've secured the touch, and why not? The first driving ball got themselves about 15 metres. To be fair to Queens in the last play, they just sacked it really well. So you've got a good battle going on now. Thomas Moore going to look to the line out, Queens are going to look to sack it, which means stop it as quickly as they possibly can.
Well, McEwen Potgieter will feed the ball into the line out, and he finds his 8-man in the form of Lally. It's a messy ball, but again, it's been lost forward there by Thomas Moore. So Queen's doing a great job to disrupt. Number 1, Marshall Frank and Van Neerkerk doing a great job of slowing the ball down there for Mahale Sequela. Queens will look to exit here. Number 9, Hilton Olivier, the man out of Pretoria, South Africa, with the ball in his hand. Again, just looking through these rosters, Craig, and the amount of international representation right across the board on both 23s.
Yeah, and it's the same for the other semi-final as well. There's a lot of international talent mixed in with our local USA domestic talent, and I think that makes a really fun, diverse student population. And from a rugby point of view, it just brings great IQ to the American rugby scene, but also the Americans can teach a lot of lessons too.
Queens hot on attack through Tom Scott. Olivier gets it off to Prince Louis Bush, the man out of Albuquerque. Olivier finds his back to his number 10, Tom Kay, who sends it deep to the winger of Moselane, to Shepo Moselane. They opt for the boot again through Susuna. It's taken in to contact there by number 12, Tom Scott, who breaks 1, breaks 2. Still going Scott. Tough man to bring down early on in this one. Olivier finds a runner in the form of Jed Shershin, the man out of Nigeria, or Nigel rather. Making meters here with ease. Queens, Martin Pierce. Here goes Olivier. Backdoor play for Kay. It's in the hands here of Marshall Frank. Lovely tips offload. They could be away again here, Queens, and they most certainly are. What a try there. It looks like Tom Kay with his name on the board. But they look organised. They look direct. And what a statement made so far by this Queens side. Craig Wilson.
Yeah, that is an absolute peach of a try. particularly from the structure and the shape, but also the offloading to keep the ball alive. So not only is it just we're going to play these phases, when the opportunity is on to keep the ball alive, and we keep the ball alive by offloading, that's exactly what they did. And that was interesting there. It came off a return play. So what we mean by that, when the ball goes one way, but it immediately comes back the other way, and that's sometimes when you can catch defenses napping and find a small gap. And that's all we needed for that offload. But the offload is only good as its support. And it was a great running line, beautiful try. And Queens have started this game on fire.
Well, the 2 points is added on top, so 12 points to 0 and 12 minutes gone. Queens out to an early lead in this one, and Tom Scott, the number 12 out of Yorkshire in the United Kingdom, with the kicking duties today for the Royals. And the Saints will look to return the kickoff, no doubt deep inside Queens territory as it's back underway through Kasuna. And they retain possession. Do Thomas Moore off the kickoff. So here goes Sequela. Gets it off to his hooker, Pokita. Sequela finds a runner in the form of Kasuna, who just pops the pass away to Fadrid Salim. Sequela finds Montgomery. Bursting through onto the ball. Another runner here in the form of Fadrid Salim again. Sequela, messy ball, but comes up with it, but illegally so. So the penalty there to Queens. Thomas Moore just not all going to plan at the moment for them, contact coach.
Yeah, we talked about their organisation in attack from Queens. Let's have a think about their organisation in defence as well. Absolutely brilliant there. You can see they're competing at the ruck when it's there to be competed for. If not, they're just getting numbers on their feet, and that's allowing them to get double tackles. And because there's double tackles, it's slow ball for Thomas Moore. It's difficult to get momentum, and that's when there was playing the ball on the ground, and that's when the penalty was given.
Here goes Olivier, lovely touch finder from Queens, and we're back underway through JC Curry. Carries it into contact, Olivier gets it off to Kay. Shows and goes himself, he's already got a try to his name today so far. Turnover by Thomas Moore, lovely stuff in the contact area. Sequela. Everyone piling in. Ray plays scrum half. Finds his number 8 in the form of Lorenzo Lally. Sequela. Gets it off to Montgomery. Tip pass off to his opposite in the form of Elijah Doyle. Looking for some continuity. Thomas Moore, the wide pass out to Moselane. The man out of Johannesburg. Here goes Montgomery again. Sequela plays scrum half, gets it off to Kasuna. Manages to get the pass away to his lock, Foy, but is met strongly in contact by this Queen's defence again. Sequela, messy ball. Sends it up deep back into the 22, and Raphael O'Gorman has to go back and collect it. Here's O'Gorman getting met strongly by this Queen's defence. Losing meters here are Thomas Moore as the Royals pile into the ruck, and a penalty to the Saints. And Craig, Thomas Moore just really struggling to play with any tempo or build some phases, as this Queen's defence is really suffocating them at the moment.
Yeah, the defence for Queens is great, but we've got to note there is a really tough wind right now for Thomas Moore, who are travelling from right to left. So that's not allow them to get their kicking game or their exit plays going, so they have to run everything. So we've got to take that into consideration, and as this game develops.
And it's back here for Queens. They've turned it over. Here's Olivier, the scrum half. Throws the cut pass to Cunningham, who bursts on and beats a couple of tackles. The man out of Clayton, North Carolina. Olivier gets the penalty. Taps and goes himself. And most definitely not 10 there. It was the player from Thomas More, and he is sent straight to the bin. No hesitation, and definitely the correct call there. Goes from bad to worse for Thomas More.
That was really smart play from the scrum half. He knew that the Thomas More defenders were not retreating. So as all scrum halves do, they're always looking for an opportunity. It was a tap and go. He got dump tackled for it, but he'll take it because the opposition received a yellow card. And this is a big, big moment in this game if Queens can capitalise. But Thomas More will be doing everything they possibly can to stunt this attack.
Marshall Frank feeds the ball into the line out. It's at the back for Queens. And almost Van Niekerk went over, but it was lost forward first. So Thomas More will get the scrum put down, but he almost glided through the gap, did Kyle Van Niekerk. So Sequela will get the ball for Thomas More, and the boot of Francisco Kiosuna will no doubt look to relieve some pressure. Here goes Sequela. Strong scrum here by Queens. It's off the back now for Lorenzo Lally. Here's the counter ruck from Queens. Strong. Sequela tries to get some sort of a platform to exit from. Marshalling his troops. It's in the hands of Doyle. Tries to etch some metres forward. Sequela finds Kiosuna, who finds touch, and as you can see, the wind being a huge factor, probably only really made a few metres on a net gain there, didn't he, Craig?
Yeah, that's a tough one. Good pressure there from Queens defensively. You can see in the opposition's half, Queens are really attacking the ruck defensively to put pressure on Thomas More, knowing they don't really have a kicking option. They got the turnover and got the ball back from this line out.
And here go Queens again, driving towards the line. Referee goes down to look and see if he can find a grounding, but he says it's held up, but fantastic from the maul there. I thought it was a try for all money, but Thomas More just did enough to hold the ball up. I think it might have been Sequela even. So a goal line dropout, obviously held up and goal, and Francisco Kiosuna will look to try and bang this as deep as he can downfield. And he does just that, and touch isn't found, and it's down in the hands of the fullback for Queens, Denevi. And they try and find it on the left to Pierce Giffen, but it was just a bit of a wobbly pass, and Thomas More will get possession back here.
Yeah, it's almost a thankless task. You get possession back, but it's in the line out, still deep in your own half. Just look at the assistant referee's flag that's flying in the wind there. So Thomas More have got to be really smart that they just secure this line out, build territory, but it all starts with winning this line out right now.
And they did just that. Sequela gets it off to Kiosuna, who's forced to take the line on himself. He's got no runners around him. Sequela. Big contact there, driving through Matteo Holway Cassini. Man out of Buenos Aires. Lovely wide pass. Trying to get into a bit of a flow here are Thomas More. Sequela finds Foy. Takes it into contact as Foy's had a number of carries so far. Sequela, backdoor play for Kusina. Gets it off to Montgomery, but he's isolated and flat-footed, and Queens meet him ably. Here goes that man again, Holway Cassini. Or it was Lorenzo Lally, rather. And that's been climbed high and lovely taken in the sky there by Zabrini. Here goes Foy again, getting into some carries. Sequela finds Montgomery, breaks one. Still going Montgomery. Sequela demands quick ball and he doesn't get it, but he gets it off to Kasuna, who goes for the grubber through option. A little bit of space, but taken at the back there by Roman Denevi. And it's a lovely, lovely kick, and Kasuna's got to go back and chase after it, and he finds touch just near the halfway metre mark, and Queens are going to decide not to take it quick, but that's a fantastic little kick there by Queens, Craig.
Yeah, Roman Devevi at fullback. It's not only the kick, it's how he retrieved the ball so quickly. It was a nice little kick through from Thomas Moore, but like any good fullback, he was on point, but he had the presence of mind to get the ball deep into Thomas Moore's half, and now he's got his reward. He's got the opposition under real pressure. So brilliant play there from the Queens fullback.
Marshall Frank feeds the ball into the line out for Thomas Moore. It's taken cleanly down. Sorry, for Queens. Taken cleanly by JC Curry. Here go Queens. Hot on attack. Here's number 7 again. JC Curry. Carry after carry. Okay. Backdoor play to Scott. Met. Lovely. In defence by Thomas Moore, and they forced the mistake. It's a brilliant defensive read there. Kay tried to get the ball away to Scott, but he was met with some very heavy contact.
Excellent tackle there. And it was actually a very similar play what Queens did from their set piece try. They've got a few dummy runners and they pull the ball out the back to those back three trying to get the wider channels. But it was a brilliant tackle there from number 11, Manuel Zubiri. It was a spot tackle, man on man, got him, and he forced a turnover. Brilliant defensive play there from Thomas Moore.
And Sequela, he's got the ball here at the scrum. Feeds it in for Thomas Moore. It's off the back here with Lorenzo Lally. Gets it back to Sequela. Kasuna. And penalty to Thomas Moore. Not rolling away, says the referee. So Thomas Moore with the penalty, and Francisco Kasuna will look to try and bang this as deep as he can. And it's gone. You can just see probably has made, I'd say, 1 metre there, Craig, in that wind. Such a telling factor.
Yeah, it really is. And I think 1 meter's been generous. That was a tough kick there. Just need a little bit more composure. It's going to be tough. You've just got to grind this one out. Just win your ball, build up. That's what Thomas Moore will be saying. And they've given themselves the platform to attack.
Sequela with the penalty advantage now. Thomas Moore. Here goes Matteo Holway Cassini. Carries it up. Trying to build some continuity here at Thomas Moore. They've got another penalty advantage. It's in the hands of Raphael O'Gorman. Sequela finds Montgomery. Met in strong contact. Here it is here now with Lally, the big number 8. Tries to free his arms, but can't get it away, or he does just in time, to his opposite winger in the form of Zabrini. Here goes Montgomery again. He's been into a mountain of work so far, the prop. Kasuna. Chip through for O'Gorman, who finds some open pasture, and it's back to collect for Cullen Cunningham, but the referee says we will have no advantage and will come back for the penalty. Offside is the call.
Thomas Moore are going to be happy with this last 10-15 minutes. Okay, they're 12-0 down on the scoreboard, but they've really started to wrestle themselves back into the game. They've actually owned the possession. Territory's tough to come by. Obviously, with a wind, you can see even their shirts are flapping away. So that's always going to be difficult. But controlling the ball does make Queens make tackles. And then that adds to fatigue level, particularly when you fast forward to this point during the second half with about 15 minutes to play and you've got the wind. It's all an accumulation effect. So Thomas More, they're not getting scoreboard supremacy right now, but they're certainly maintaining possession.
Here goes McEwen Potgieter with the ball. Feeds it into the line out, and Josh Foy climbs to the sky and collects it. It's just been lost forward there by Sequela at the base of the ruck. So a ball handed back over to Queens. And we have just over 10 minutes to play in the first half here at Penn State Barracks. 12-0 to Queens in this NCR D1 semi-final. The road to Houston, and the Brown Bears are already there next weekend. Who will join them? The Saints or the Royals? And it's certainly the Royals in the box seat at the moment so far in this game, but no doubt Thomas More certainly have the ability to fight back in this one. Hilton Olivier with the ball in hand in his sophomore year. Gets ready to feed her into the scrum once more. He does. Finds Kay. Wraparound play with Giffen. Scott. It's been knocked on there, but play on, says the referee, and Thomas More break away with it. The lovely offload to Matasasini, but it's spilt forward, so Queens back with the ball. Here goes Lewis Bush. Olivier finds it back to Kay. Goes for the aerial option and finds plenty of space, in the wind, of course, drags it down towards the try line. Messy stuff there for Francisco Kasuna. He goes for the boot and finds touch well beyond the 22, but again, probably Queens really favouring that boot option, the kicking option again with that wind, and can play a really good territorial battle at the moment, Craig.
Yeah, it was a great kick, but I'm surprised how much time Thomas More there had to clear that ball. So even though it's a good kick, you have to have a good chase as well. I think Queens could have put a bit more pressure on that play. That being said, they have got the ball back now, but that'd be something I would look towards just to get those accuracy up, particularly in the kick chase.
Here goes Cullen Cunningham, breaking through for Queens. Good on his feet is Cunningham. Olivier gets it off to JC Curry. Flat pass off to Lewis Bush. And just an error down the far right side there through Hayden Johnson, the man out of Sydney, Australia, for Queens. And just over 10 minutes to play in this one. 12 points to 0. Thomas More will be trying to exit here. So they take it cleanly down through Farid Salim. And they're set for the maul. Sequela marshals his troops. Trying to find where the ball is at the base of the scrum, and it eventually falls for Sequela. Gets it off to Kasuna. Goes high into the sky, and Cunningham goes to collect it, but offside is the call, and a great call there by the referee. The player obviously played that one in an offside position, so the penalty goes Thomas More's way.
Yeah, that's something you can't do. If you fumble the ball or drop it forward and then an advanced player on your team plays it, it goes from a knock-on into a penalty, and that's exactly what Thomas More needed right now. With 10 minutes to go, they're going to be looking, even if they don't score, just make sure the opposition don't score, because 12 points is very, very easily overcome, particularly in this wind. So now we've got to control this possession.
Thomas More got the ball at the back of the line out, and they're working towards the halfway here through Matteo Holway Cassini. Here goes Sequela. Wide pass out to Kasuna. Bit of room to move here in the midfield through Veal. Sequela finds Foy. the big lock in the blue headgear. Works past the halfway metre line. Sequela. Kasuna. In the hands here of Holway Cassini. Looks for the offload, but can't quite find it. Kasuna again. It's a little bit stagnant down the touchline, and they have lost it forward. Have Thomas More, just couldn't quite collect it, or rather the first hand was off Queens, so they'll get the put down for the scrum.
I'm really impressed with Queen's defensive organisation, but in particular their ruck decision making. When Thomas More have a lot of numbers around the ball, you'll see Queens not even put any numbers into a ruck. What that allows them to do is create a defensive overload because they've got more numbers on their feet defensively because the attack have got 2 or 3 players in. But when that ball is able to be attacked, they're going for it. It's a brilliant ruck decision making there from Queens.
Here's the scrum, and Sequela gets it off his number 8. He fires the backdoor ball off to Kasuna, who threatens to pierce through the line. Sequela again, he's everywhere today as this man gets held up on the tackle, but eventually gets to go to ground. Queens look to have stolen this in turn, but it falls back for Thomas More. So Josh Foy picks and goes. Sequela. Kasuna. Midfield for O'Gorman. Bit of room to move down the outside here for Thomas More. Matasasini goes back to clean it up. The rangy fullback. Here goes Sequela again. A little bit isolated, so has to go in and carry himself. It's the carry here through Holway Cassini. Or it was Lorenzo Lally, rather. Kasuna looks for runners, finds his 13, Veal. The man out of Cincinnati, Ohio. Looking for runners. Finds Montgomery again and absolutely pinball backwards. That is some devastating contact there on Montgomery. Some brutal hits in this game so far. Olivier looks for touch, and that is a magnificent touch finder there from Hilton Olivier. That'll make Craig Wilson very happy. That's a nudge and a half.
Yeah, the nudge was brilliant, but it all came from that turnover. First, it was the contact, it was the hit and the stick, and then it allowed him to compete for the ball and get the turnover. It was brilliant bit of contact work there. And as you said, from the box kick, because Queens knew that Thomas More were in attack, so they didn't have anyone in the backfield. So brilliant vision, just to kick it over, use the wind, and now Thomas More have got to exit from their 22. This is exhausting stuff. Brilliant rugby all around.
Thomas More get the ball back through. Sequela tries to find his runner and eventually does in the form of Matteo Holway Cassini. Looking for runners, and Elijah Doyle steps up to the plate this time. Sequela. A little bit of a confusing play. There's a bit of space to work with here if they can move it to the edge, but the pass drift backwards beyond the hands, so the line out will form for Queens. Both of these teams, most particularly probably for Thomas More, will be keen for half-time to come soon so they can swap sides and play with the wind in favour. Here go Queens. Olivier gets it off to Cunningham, off his line. Driving through contact strong here at Queens, threatening once more. Here's Kay. Short ball play in the midfield. Queens are away here through Scott. Back to Kay. Down the left sand touchline, and it is a try to Queens. Here's Griffin. Is the man who came up with the try, I think, or it might have been the number 12, Tom Scott, but that is fantastic stuff there from Queens, extending their lead as half-time threatens. Talk us through this one, Craig Wilson.
Oh, that was just really well worked. Again, it all came from set piece. There was a bit more going on because there was a hit up in the midfield and it was just the speed of recycle. So it was a big carry from that initial line out. You're going to see it here. Look at the leg drive and the presentation of the ball. Then the ball goes to the wider channel and look at that line. That absolutely beautiful in to out. Then it gives it back to Key and it's just a brilliant finish. He gets low, he stays strong, makes himself difficult to tackle. That was a brilliant, brilliant play, all launched from line out.
Well, that brilliant line from Tom Scott. Absolutely exquisite. And then Pierce Griffin, the man out of Sunrise in Florida, gets his name on the board and extends the lead for Queens. And they'll be ecstatic to head into the halftime sheds very soon with another try. And that kick just falls short. So 17 points to nil. Just over 3 minutes to play in the first half. And Craig, if you're in the Thomas More camp right now, what do you think they need to do to try and get themselves back in this one?
First of all, not panic. You are playing against a really difficult win right now. So it's critical you don't concede any more points. 17 points is way much more manageable than 20, 22, or even 25. So it's really important that we just keep composed and try and not do too much, get into the sheds, have a talk, and then they can play with a win in the second half.
Oh, they're back on the attacker, Queens. They get a lovely kick away downfield, and here goes Mudasasini, the fullback for Thomas More. Spots a bit of space and beats one, beats two. Sequela finds Hudson Montgomery, one of the shining lights for Thomas More in this first half. He's got through a lot of carries. Here goes Raphael O'Gorman. Looking to try and build it out, but it's very messy stuff for Thomas More, and Queens threatening to get on the ball once more. Sequela plays it off to Holway Cassini. Here goes Kasuna, bit of space, dummy pump through. Threatening to break through space there is Francisco Kasuna. Queens coming in. Counter-ruck opportunity. Just managed to do enough to hang on to Thomas More. Here's Montgomery again. Sequela finds Salim. Again, Holway Cassini. Carried on here by Foy. And it looks to have been stolen here by Queens, so don't go away. They look to add one more, the cross kick option. But it's been charged down and Thomas More rush onto it. O'Gorman will bring it back, as he might have knocked it on the second time, but see what the referee says. We'll eventuate from that one, but I think we will pack down for a scrum in favour of Queens. Looks to have been just lost forward there by Thomas More.
Yeah, just a little knock on just after that charge down. So we've got a big moment in this game right now. It's absolutely vital from a Thomas More point of view, but you don't concede any more points. From Queens, it'd be important that keep your composure, build your momentum, try and get something on the scoreboard. So this is actually a really big moment in this game.
Here go Queens on the stroke of half time. Olivier with the ball at the base of the scrum for Hayden Johnson. Here it goes, off to Kay. Backdoor plays, looking for runners. He's got his fullback in the form of Denevi, who just loses the ball forward on that occasion. So Thomas More might get one more opportunity in the first half to try and get their first points on the board. And the referee just wants to stop play and have a chat to his assistant referee here, so we will see what will eventuate from this. It looks as if there was a potential penalty. Or maybe an inactive foul play. We will see what comes of it. Time back on, says the referee. So the scrum will indeed continue. And it will be Mohale Sequela to feed the ball into the scrum, the man out of Johannesburg, South Africa, in his freshman year. Gets it in. Strong scrum there by Thomas Moore. Forcing Sequela, though, to take it into contact after Queens break off early. Here goes Holway Cassini. O'Gorman plays scrum half, gets it off to Josh Foy. Sequela looking for runners, finds Kasuna, bit of space to move here through Lally. Lorenzo Lally driven strongly towards the touchline. Just does enough to stay in, and a penalty for Thomas Moore. It's a bit of a potential last opportunity here, Craig, for Thomas Moore to try and get some points on the board, but certainly still a wee way away from that try line.
Yeah, still we probably would have wanted a bit more from the kick. Granted, it was a bit of a tight angle. But if you're from Thomas Moore's point of view here, get the ball, secure it first of all, build momentum and see what you can do. Remember, even if you get a penalty, you might be able to get those 3 points. And it just gives you that bit of a lifeline as you go into half-time.
Well, this is constructed pretty well as they drive forward into Queen's territory and they get the penalty. So Sequela, they quick tap. Here they go through Lally. Looking to play with some real tempo again. Time off, and it looks like we could see a player sent to the bin for Queens, and we do indeed. So a copycat of the yellow card we saw earlier, with that player not getting back 10 quickly enough. So Thomas Moore with some great heads-up play there again to draw in the yellow card. And Hudson Montgomery is just telling his scrum half just to slow things down a wee bit while we get things ready. And they'll look to quick tap, or they're going to set for the line out rather, and Francisco Kasuna finds touch directly on the 22-metre line. Into referees overtime here in the first half. Your NCR men's D1 semi-final. Here goes Potgieter, taken cleanly by Foy. Here go the Thomas Moore pack, constructing something here, driving towards the Queen line. They want something out of this half. It's taken in. Sequela marshals his troops. It's back there for Mateo Holway Cassini. Takes it into contact. Just looking to pick towards the line. Keep it nice and tight, Thomas Moore. This one with Lally. Foy. Salim. Again. You can see the line on screen. Thomas Moore breakaway. Close to the line. On the stroke of half-time, this could be some brilliance for Thomas Moore. Have they got over? And the try is awarded. And they're stoked. Look at it. We'll get a number for you, but that's come out of absolutely nowhere, Craig Wilson. I think it is Elijah Doyle, the number 3. We will just check and hopefully he turns around.
Brilliant from Thomas Moore. I love how they kept their composure. They got the penalties, and similar to earlier on for Queens where they milked that yellow card, Thomas Moore did it, so they showed their smarts, and their line-out maul has looked really threatening all game. And then they just kept their composure. Just look on the pick and goes. It was organised, it was efficient, and then when someone made a break off, they had men there, and then they helped drive him over the line. Great support. And I tell you what a huge moment in that game. Going in at 17-5, maybe 17-7 is such a big deal, and there's all momentum now for Thomas More, particularly when you take into consideration the wind they're going to have at their backs. But from a Queen's point of view, they've got to just not panic, stick to their defence. But with that try, it's set up an absolutely beautiful second half. I'm really excited for it.
Wow. Most certainly is an exciting second half that awaits, and he's going to go for the drop kick, and that one has been well and truly shanked. So 17 points to 5. The halftime siren sings, and Queens will take the lead over Thomas More, but the last laugh of the half going to the Saints, and it sets up for an exciting 40 minutes ahead. We will be back with you in just a moment. The road to Houston, your NCR Men's D1 semi-final, live on Next Level Rugby.
In our game, we play with our hearts. We don't play with sticks, bats, or gloves. We don't wear shoulder pads or helmets. We keep playing when it hurts. And we leave everything on the field. What we wear must be built for our game.
Since 1979, we've been searching for perfection. We've been thinking, sketching, and designing. We've been building, assembling, and strengthening. We've been cutting, shaping, and painting. We've created strength and beauty time and again. Our machines are made for one thing: the perfect hit. We are the crouch. We are the bind. We are the set. We are the squeeze. We are the hit. We are Rhino, home of the scrum.
Welcome back in, ladies and gentlemen, to Next Level Rugby's coverage of these NCR D1 semi-final games. We have seen the Brown Bears progress already to Houston next weekend. Who will join them? Well, that is a question to be answered in the next 40 minutes. We have the Queens Royals up against the Thomas More Saints. 17 points to 5 was the first taking from the first half, although the Thomas More Saints came back hot and scored that last try. So, Craig Wilson, you're in both camps. What would you have to say to your players?
I think if I was Queens, you got to back the defence. It looked really sharp apart from that last final play. So back your defence and just really try and grind it out because they're going to be against the wind. Talking about the wind, if you're Thomas More, use it. Play territory, kick the ball, make sure you're turning the opposition around because you know they can't kick it back because you've just experienced it yourself. So really important now. That's why I think that try for Thomas More before half-time was absolutely vital. So it's going to be a really close one here, and the wind's going to play a big factor, but you've got two great teams fighting for their place in Houston.
Well, we are nearly ready to get back underway. The final 40 minutes. And Tom Scott, the senior out of Yorkshire, UK, gets us back underway. 40 minutes to go on this one. Let's have some fun as it's taken in there by Matteo Holway Cassini. Sequela finds Kasuna, back door. Off to his number 12, Raphael O'Gorman, and immediately onto attack here. It's been stolen by Queens though, and hard leg drive through, but I think Thomas More again wrestled it back, so a little bit of arm wrestle there. Thomas More coming out on top. Backwards, says the referee on that play, so we carry on. Lorenzo Lally with the ball, gets it back to Kasuna. Deep down to Queen's territory. It's in the back here with Roman Denevi, the fullback, the rangy fullback. Pops it off to his inside centre, Van Rooyen. Olivier. Lovely tip pass play there. It's here in the hands of Pierce Griffin. Finds his inside flank in the form of Van Niekerk. Still going. Queens looking to attack the second half with real poise. Olivier finds his runner again, this time in the form of Lewis Bush. Here goes Olivier again. Finds Frank. Gets it back off to Schwartz. Looking for runners. Here's Kay. Backdoor play to Dietrin. And in form finds Van Niekerk again. Here goes Olivier looking for runners. Olivier gets it off to Frank. Tries to go for the stiff arm fend and break through defenders, but Thomas More do a good job to contain him. Here goes Prince Lewis Bush. Going close to the line of Queens. Olivier finds Van Niekerk, the man out of Pretoria, South Africa. Space here for Kay. Tom Kay goes over, and Queens extend their lead. Lovely heads-up play there from Olivier to Tom Kay. And he's already scored a try today, but you can make that two. Queens, big statement in the second half, Craig Wilson.
Yeah, that was really accomplished try. Built it really well. They didn't panic. What I really liked, it all started off from the original kick, and you had fullback number 15, Roman Divini, really deep in his own half. He took into account the wind, and then he launched a counterattack. And then from there, it was phase after phase after phase, which was controlled. It was slowly marching up the field, and then it was the opportunity to pounce. And they sure did. They have started, much like they started the first half, Queens have started the second half on fire. That was a seriously good try.
It was a brilliant try, and the conversion just falls short from the man wearing number 12. Tom Scott, but 22 points to 5. And a pretty good try as well with the wind in their favour, which we saw was such a massive factor in the first half, Craig. So Queens will certainly take that nearly 4 minutes into the second half.
Yeah, that was a really big moment. But if you're Thomas More, you've still got, what, 35 minutes. Don't panic. Get that ball deep and long, and then launch your own attack if you get the ball back. So there's still plenty to play for here.
Deep and long they do, and Tom Scott tries to clear it. Again, they regain the ball through Salim. Fadrid Salim. Here goes Olivier. Finds his runner in the form of Schwartz. Olivier finds Kay, the try scorer. Off to his big prop, Marshall Frank. Trying to bust through one. Pick and go there by number 4, Van Niekerk. Olivier gets it off to Pierce. Trying to break through. Olivier again. Off to Kay. Wrap around play in the midfield. A bit of room to move here for the new man on the field, Carson Green. Messy ball there. Thomas More trying to come and disrupt it, but Queens just locked down the ruck in time. So Lewis Bush gets the tip pass away to Pierce. Olivier. Kay. Backdoor play here through Van Rooyen. Find their outside in the form of Cunningham. It's been kicked through there by Thomas More, so a little bit against the run of play, and we will come back for the no advantage. There's a little bit of push and shove there. Definitely plenty of fizz in this one, isn't there, Craig?
Oh, there sure is. There's so much to play for. You're playing for not only your teammates in your college, but you're trying to get your team to Houston, okay? And there's still a lot to go in this game. And Thomas More did really well there. They're just not panicking in defense, much like Queens did in the first half. You know they can't really kick the ball, so you just got to be disciplined. Just let them have possession if they're going to have it, and then target it when you're going to target it, and go all in. And that's what they did. And then it gives you a chance to win that penalty, get territory, and build momentum.
Well, Thomas More with a good opportunity to really counter-attack that early try in the second half that Queens scored. Some substitutions being made for Thomas More. Number 9, Kean Wild, now enters the fold. It's taken down by Foy. They set for the drive to Thomas More. Wild marshalling his troops along. Here they go. Thomas More breaking off through Lally, the number 8. Wild gets it off to Kasuna. Breaks one. Gets the pop away here to O'Gorman. Still going O'Gorman. Close to the try line. Thomas More. Lally. Almost over the line. Pleading for a penalty out. Thomas More. Montgomery. Hudson Montgomery. Almost over the line. Foy. Try time. Thomas More. Just what they needed in the nick of time. And I think it's that man, number 4, Josh Foy, who comes up with the try. It looks like number 8, Lorenzo Lally, also getting some pats, so we'll give it to Josh Foy though. I think he was straight over the ball, and that is exactly what they needed, Craig Wilson. Here's the replay.
Yeah, that was all direct. It all started from the line out. It was hit up after hit up after hit up. And once they've shown already, once they get to this area, they're devastating, they're organized, and they get their try. They find the edge. That was a great way to answer back from the initial try in the second half by Queens. And it was just direct. If this goes over, it becomes a 10-point game. I feel this might go down to the wire here, Thomas.
Oh, I certainly agree with you, and the replay confirmed there that it was Josh Foy, the man out of Cincinnati, Ohio, who scored the try, and the kick is drilled through the uprights by Raphael O'Gorman, so 22 points to 12. as Craig said, this game certainly has got a down-to-the-wire feel, and if Thomas More can continue on what they did just there, it's certainly going to push Queens right down to the wire. Tom Scott with the ball in his hand, looking to get play back underway. And the referee just making sure that substitutions are rolled on. So we have number 16, Trevon Reed, enters the field there for Marshall Frank. A little bit of impact off the bench. No doubt going to be critical in the final 30 minutes of this one. Scott gets us back underway. It's taken in by the try scorer, Foy. Wild finds his runner in the form of Holway Cassini. Wild, Kasuna, O'Gorman into the midfield of Veal. Breaking through here at Thomas More, but it's been picked up here by Queens. Back on the counter-attack. Tom Scott, Olivier, Lewis Bush. Here goes Olivier now, running hot on here. Breaking through is Kay, gets the cat flap offload away. Cunningham. Wow, Queens really threatening on that counter-attack there as the commentator starts to lose his voice a bit.
It's been a long day for you, Thomas. Well done, 4 games in. But I'm really surprised by the decision-making from Thomas More, that they're not clearing that ball early. They've seen the rewards they're getting when they're kicking long. But from the initial kickoff to restart half-time, after half-time, they tried to run it. That gave Queens possession, and they eventually scored. Likewise, they moved the ball wide, and I like the ambition, but they're just getting turned over. So maybe a bit of a tactical decisions to be made there. But if they're backing themselves to run it, who am I to say? But if I was in their boots, I would be kicking that ball long, back in my defence, and going for the turnover.
And here go Thomas More off the back of the scrum. The mistake is forced, so Tom Scott gets the ball. Away to Kay. Olivier finds Lewis Bush. Lewis Bush. Prince Lewis Bush still going. The try line beckoning for Queens. Olivier backwards is the call. In the hands of Kyle Van Niekerk. No advantage, says the referee, so we'll come back for a penalty. Tom Scott taps it quickly. Tom Scott to the line. Try time. Great heads-up play there for Thomas More. And I think it is Tom Scott who scored the try. We'll get confirmation if he turns around, but Queens.
Yeah, good play there. And I was just mentioning at scrum time about Thomas More maybe being a bit too ambitious in their own half. Maybe just win the scrum, kick it long and go from there. They had the turnover against them trying to play a launch play from deep in their own half. Queens got the ball. They eventually worked into position where Thomas More gave away a penalty. And Tom Scott, he knows the game inside out. If he went quick there, he was going to get over the try line, and that's absolutely what he did. But Thomas More might be kicking himself. A bit of tactical naivety there, not to get the ball well away from their own half and use the wind.
Well, Scott can't quite add the extras to his conversion, so 27 points to 12 in this NCR Men's Division 1 semi-final. And Queens are in the box seat to get on the road to Houston next weekend. But Thomas More, they certainly won't go away. And here they are through Kasuna with the restart. Queens looking to run it back from deep inside their own half. Good carry there from Denevi, the fullback. He's been good today for them. Olivier. The break here again for Queens. Queens moving it fast, but Thomas More intercept through Shashipo Moselane. It's the number 16, Trevon Reed, who made that fantastic break there for Queens. Talk about impact off the bench. Wild. Breakaway here for Thomas More. Brutal hits coming in. Wild plays quickly, gets it out to Kasuna in the midfield here for Veal. Marasasini. Zabriri finds Doyle. Driven strongly back in the tackle. And the penalty's given to Queens. Straight on the ball. Technical brilliance there at the breakdown. Well, Thomas More made the fantastic break there, Craig, but again, Queens just so quick on the ball. Great stuff at the breakdown.
Oh, absolutely. It was great at the breakdown, but it all from a brilliant tackle. It wasn't only a low leg chop tackle, it's backwards. You don't often see that. And because of that tackle, to left his support system, that allowed Queens to launch onto that ball, get on the jack and get the steal. That was a brilliant bit of tackle and then also the right decision-making execution.
And Queens have the line out here, looking to ring some changes as we enter 25 minutes left in this one. Here we go through Frank, taken down by the new man, Stanyon, for Queens, and the throw has looked to be called not straight, so the ball will fall back in Thomas Moore's hands. Certainly will be the team that needs to score next. Here goes Wakita, gets it into the line out through the try scorer of Foy, finds Wild, gets it off to Kasuna, running direct as the 10 himself. Here goes Lally, Lorenzo Lally, the man out of La Plata in Argentina, one of the many Argentinians in this Thomas More side. O'Gorman has to go back and clean it up. Wild. Trying to offload in contact there was Veal, and they're driven back, losing metres here at Thomas More. Queens trying to come in and force a counter ruck, and they've done a good job, but the penalty's awarded. Off feet was the call. Obviously, you can't kick the ball through the ruck either, so they'll pick one of the two. And they will look to go for touch, and it's a pretty hefty touch finder as well. Thomas More, Craig, really good opportunity to try and fend their way back into this one with some set piece.
Yeah, this is the best way you're going to do it. Kick the ball, we kicked it out, kick it long, and it's given the opportunity for the line out, which has looked pretty strong. Their driving maul's been good, but it's a tough day at the office with that wind.
Certainly is, and here comes Prince Lewis Bush for Queens against the runner play. He's been dominant today with his carries, and he just tries to go for the pop off the deck, but he throws it forward, so just showing how hard line out time is. But Queens certainly have made some barnstorming runs so far, as we see some more substitutions being made, and number 16 for Thomas More, Seal, enters the field. Rabitswe Seal, or Riabitswe Seal, I should say, out of Johannesburg, South Africa. Thomas More, an opportunity from scrum time, probably which they'd prefer. Wild with the ball. And the referee just wants to have a little bit of a reset there, and time starts to get close to the final quarter of this match. Your NCR Men's Division 1 Semifinals live on Next Level Rugby. And they'll be bringing you all the action next week as well. The National Championships in Houston, what a weekend that'll be of rugby. Wild gets it into the scrum. Strong push by Queens, but it Falls back for Lally. He shows and goes himself, and the referee has a bit of a whoopsie-daisy, but he gets back up. It's in the hands here of Matteo Holway Cassini. Wild. Off to Cassina. O'Gorman. Threatening to break through the line. Rafael O'Gorman, the man out of Argentina as well. Cassina. Strong contact. Wild. Trying to find some runners and break through this Queen's line. Here goes Cassina. Flat pass off to Lally. Wild. Fast play. Penalty given. O'Gorman goes quickly. Here goes Rafael O'Gorman, the number 12 for Thomas More. Past the 22 and hot on attack is Wild. Here comes Thomas More. To be the replacement on the field there, Lawson. And a penalty against the runner play. Queens get it back. Oh, it was all good stuff there for Thomas More, wasn't it, Craig? But just not enough numbers to the breakdown in time.
It sure was. Brilliant break. But I tell you what, I want to give big kudos to number 16, Trevion Reed. He has made a massive impact for Queen. And the big example of that was that turnover there. He's a big man, but the attacker got isolated. He was the one who got over a ball. He managed to hold on. The referee deemed it in his favour, and he got a really crucial turnover because Thomas More were on the hunt row. But great stuff, number 16, Reed. Brilliant play there.
He certainly has made a massive impact. And Queens will be very happy to pack down for a scrum as we just have a little bit of time off here and entering into the final quarter of this fixture. Substitutions being rolled on, some fresh legs, no doubt, is what's needed at this stage of the game. So let's see who enters the fold. And we'll pack down a scrum. Queens with the ball after that fantastic turnover there by Trevon Reed. Hilton Olivier with the ball. Straight down both the front rowers, so we'll pack down for a reset. And Craig, of course, these teams meet next week in Houston, and you've seen the Brown game today against St Bonaventure. How do you compare, that sort of style to the game we've seen today from Thomas More and Queens?
Well, we've seen four brilliant teams go at it today. Brown obviously have got their ticket booked. Strong set piece, strong maul, strong all round. And I'll be interested to see which team they're going to play, because there might be a final twist in this if Thomas More could get the next score.
Queens hot on attack here. They're looking to play some really quick pace, and it's almost too quick, so a knock on is forced, and Thomas More get the ball back. More substitutions into the fold.
This is an important moment, actually, going into the last, say, 17 minutes or so. Queens do not need to force anything, so they don't really need to be offloading there and putting themselves under pressure. They just need to build momentum, keep possession like they've been doing the whole game, and make Thomas More try and get the ball back. When you have to try and get the ball back, you take a few more risks. That's when penalties might start to come into it. But if I was a Queens coach now, I'd be like, just relax, keep it calm, do the basic things really well. If I was a Thomas More coach, it ought to be like, we've got to turn up the heat now Okay, so we're down on the scoreboard. We definitely need the next score. So everything we do, we've got to have a desperation around it. We're getting late into the game, late in the season. If you want to go to Houston, you've got to try and start making stuff happen. All starts with this scrum, this set piece, pretty much in the midfield. So you've got everywhere to attack, to launch it now. And if you can get a score, Queens will start getting a little bit nervous, particularly with that wind. And Thomas More have got the momentum. But it all starts with winning your set piece.
Well, you could see both teams there tight in their huddles, talking tactics, and they're going to be so key as we etch into the final 16 or so minutes in this game. Thomas More with the midfield scrum. Wild will be in control with the ball. Feeds it into the scrum. Does Kean Wild. Strong scrum though by Queens. Dominant. And they get the penalty. That is an absolute dominant scrum there by Queens. And they go quickly. Breaking away at Queens. Looking to play with some real tempo. Not mucking around, that's for sure. Here goes Olivier. Gets it off to Frank. Been lost in contact and looks to have been picked up illegally, and the referee agrees, so Thomas More get the penalty. But how about that scrum, Craig?
Brilliant scrum, absolutely huge from the Queens forward pack there. And again, it just came to, they just need that bit of composure. I know they're excited because they've just won that turnover, but they just need to play a little bit smarter, not force it as much as they're doing right now. But real dominant scrum. Look how they're connected, they're pushing, they're keeping their legs, the quick feet, they're driving, and they got the reward with the turnover. That was a big, big play. Now we've got to do it again, but this time at line out.
Well, most certainly so. And Thomas More come down with the ball this time, and they work it forward towards the try line through Lally. He's been a strong carrier for them today, a real shining light. Here goes Hudson Montgomery. Trying to keep it tight and compact, the Thomas More Saints. Wild gets it off to Kasuna. Midfield crash in the form of Veal. Wild. Backdoor play here, number 20 new on the field, Archer. Wild gets it off to Seal. Seal powering towards the 5 metre line for the Saints. Wild gets it off to Potgieter. Now starting to look really good, are the Saints. Bit of a messy pass though, and Queens come rushing onto it. Here goes Kasuna. And Queens have stolen it. Olivier plays wide to Cunningham. Puts it on the boot. Plenty of space indeed, but it's come off the side, and Thomas More hot on the counter-attack. Wild. Kasuna. Dummy pump off to Grant. Turnover again by Queens. And they're away. Here go Queens. Past the halfway. Carson Green. Olivier goes for the box kick, and it goes out on the full, but that was end-to-end rugby there, Craig Wilson.
That sure was. 2 brilliant turnovers for the Queen. Big, big credit to the coaching staff there. The technique of the Queen's players, particularly around the ruck, have been brilliant. But why they're getting into that position is because of their defensive organisation. They're connected, they're not missing their tackles, and it gives them that opportunity to steal the ball.
Thomas More back on attack here through Holway Cassini. Wild goes himself, but he's absolutely driven in. A strong tackle there by Stanyan. Kasuna goes into play halfback, and he gets it away to the replacement Seal. Here goes Montgomery. It's been one of the shining lights for Thomas More. Some brutal carries. Breaking through, here's Lally, the big number 8. Holway Cassini tries to blow over. It's in the hands here of Seal. Gets the cat flap offload away. Down the left here of Thomas Moore. Through Zabrini. Salim. He's got the headgear on now. Trying to enforce a turnover, and illegally so. So they tap and go quickly. Here's Lally. Thomas Moore looking to really up the tempo and get back in this one. Wild. Gets it back to Archer. Flat ball to Grant. Running onto it with pace. Almost loses the ball, but just hangs onto it. Here is Mosolane. Queens coming in to try and disrupt, but they've kept it in through Seal. Wild. And it's been knocked on there by Holway Cassini, so Queens get the ball back now, looking to exit. And the only way they know how to so far is to run it out. And we'll come back for a no advantage, but this defense from Queens, Craig, not giving an inch.
Yeah, really impressive. Really impressed with their defense. It's organized, it's aggressive, they're targeting the ruck, they're leaving the ruck alone if they don't have an opportunity to steal it. So it's been really impressive. And Thomas Moore, they're really knocking at the door. They're working hard. It's not like their attack has been poor, but Queens have been matching every hard run with an even harder tackle, and it's been really great to see. Fair play to Queens, but the game's not over yet. They've still got an exit. You see how tough it is for that team who are having to play from right to left. Queens right now, it's tough to get out your own half. Defense is tiring. Thomas Moore need to make something happen now. About 10 minutes left of your season if you don't get it moving. So they're going to have to start throwing everything they possibly can at Queens, and it starts with this scrum.
Well, you're certainly correct. This is what it all comes down to, the final 10 minutes in this one. Replacement scrum half for Queens. What a scrum from Queens again. The penalty advantage not given, but they'll be happy to play through Scott. The try scorer, lovely offload away. Here come Queens breaking through, past the halfway. Stanyon. Carson Green, rather. And they get the penalty. Taps and goes quickly. Does Paramaso. It's on the right-hand touchline here. Queens looking to put this one to bed. Here's Van Niekerk. Stanyon. Backdoor play here for Van Rooyen. Flat pass off to Denevi. In the hands now of Pierce Griffin. Erasmo gets it back to Key. Tom Key, offload. It's collected by Thomas Moore. They're away, Thomas Moore. Past the halfway. Look at him go. Clean run home for Thomas Moore. It's the big number 5. Salim and Thomas Moore are back in this one through the absolute brilliance of Farid Salim.
Wow, we talked about trying to make something happen, and number 5, Salim, did exactly that. He chanced his arm with the intercept, and he had a lot to do. So much to do. He was deep in his own half, the big guy. He was getting chased down. And look at him, he just puts himself in a position, last desperation, but he went for it. And then look at that leg stride. High knees, he's driving away. Thomas Moore desperately trying to get back. They barely get a hand on him, and he's under the post. Now talk about a lifeline and doing something incredible for your team. Really well done, Farid Salim. Take your hat off, my man. That was brilliant.
Well, Farid Salim. That is huge for Thomas Moore. And they add the 2 points, so 27 points to 19. You can see on the scoreground clock that there is just over 10 minutes to play, so our time may be just a little bit off, but obviously it's always on the referee's watch. But if there is 10 minutes to go, strap yourselves in, because there is plenty left in this one. Thomas Moore come knocking back. how about the pace from Farid Salim, the man out of Salta, Argentina? He's a freshman. Tom Scott gets us back underway. And it's immediately been knocked on there by Thomas Moore. Not what they needed. Number 6, Matteo Holway Cassini, just unfortunately spilt it down after a try. Not what the doctor ordered, Craig Wilson.
Yeah, he looks a bit upset with himself, but he's got to dust himself down pretty quick. They do call that a bit of a coach killer. You've just got yourself back into the game, and then a simple catch when you needed your skill set most, it deserted him. But that's what happens with pressure. But he's got an opportunity to get it back, the young man. He's got an opportunity to get his next tackle in, turn over the ball. The Queens will be happy about this. They've got a midfield scrum. They can start to work the clock. These scrum resets are absolutely brilliant now for Queens. They just want to take all momentum out the game, start seeing all the tricks come out, people taking a knee, having a little bit of a breather, maybe an injury here or there, just to take the momentum out the game. From Queens, if you're Thomas Moore, you want that ball back as quickly as possible.
Well, it will be Filippo Parasimo to feed the ball into the scrum out of Rome in Italy. And it's a pretty solid scrum for Queens. It's back at the base here for number 19, Larson Weinberg. Larson Weinberg still going. Out of Santiago in Chile. Queens looking to put the nail in the coffin. Here's number 16, Trevon Reed. Cut out pass. Queens are in. Yes. Griffin. Try time.
Whoa, I'd like to see that one again. That was tight. That was very, very tight. Trevon Reed.
It's number 11, Pierce Griffin.
Brilliant.
We'll just get
a replay on that. I would like a slow-mo. That was tight.
We'll have a look at the slow motion replay angle. Potentially you can see he's getting all the celebrations there. Here's the replay. Trevon Reed again. How about this cutout pass? That is pinpoint. And Griffin, yeah, that's very touch and go. Benefit of the doubt. What do you think, Craig? Let's have a look at the slow-mo. I think he gets it down just in time. Yeah, try.
It looks like his hand touches the side, but I think in those situations you give the benefit of the doubt to the attack. Brilliant cover tackle. But that's credit to Queens. Every time Thomas Moore have got themselves back into the game, they've answered, and they've answered with points. And that's a sign of a championship team. They really are looking the real deal. Because Thomas Moore have thrown everything at them. Queens are answering it. So fair play to the teams.
Well, it's Griffin's second try of the game, the sophomore, out of Sunrise, Florida. So he's had a couple of tries, which is great to see. And Queens, 32 points to 19. Not long to go in this encounter. They look like they could be off to Houston if they continue on their merry way. Here go Queens again, punching it up through Chester Stanyon out of Uckfield in the United Kingdom. Here's Carson Green. Erasmo. Just playing here a bit more of a conservative game. Here's Frank, the big prop, looks for the offload, just throws off. Josh Foy is a strong man. Marshall Frank out of Hendersonville. He's in his senior year. Advantage, says the referee. Potentially just for a knock on. Here go Queens again, breaking through. Queens in the hands here of Trevon Reed. Trevon Reed all the way. It's your man off the bench, Craig Wilson. Try time, Queens. And you could almost say they are off to Houston. And that man, Trevon Reed, has been something else off the bench, Craig.
I Tell you what, for the last 25-30 minutes, Trevon Reed has been MVP. He's been defensively making the tackles and turnovers. He's been dominant in running, and that support line was beautiful. Just watch here the amount of work he's got to do. He's taking it, he's in traffic, he's supporting, he's talking to his man, I'm on your left, and then powers through. There's a lot of work to do here. And you'll see when he gets over the try line how exhausted these young men are. It's just been a long season. But Trevon Reed, take a bow.
Well, I tell you what, I certainly would not like to tackle him in full flight. He can certainly move. And again, he set up the last try for Griffin, and then he just goes and scores one himself. So he's having a fantastic day off the bench. And Queens will look to add the 2 points on top and really put this game out beyond reach of Thomas More. I think it is Parasmo with the kicking duties. It is indeed. Strikes it pretty well, but just the radar falling to the left. So not long to go in this one. Round about 20 or so seconds says our clock, but no doubt the referee certainly has a bit more time for injuries and substitutions. So Thomas More looking to get some consolation points. Here go Queens again though, breaking through. They're not done. Massive tackle coming in there from Lally. Driving Van Rooyen back. Humongous, and Thomas More get the ball back, but spill it forward. Unfortunate there for Seal. And Queens will get the ball back on a scrum, but it was Raphael O'Gorman who made that brilliant break, and rather Van Rooyen. It was fantastic.
Yeah, well, despite a losing effort from Thomas More, number 8, Lorenzo Lelli, he has been excellent as well. He's been really carrying hard, and he put in that big tackle there. But it looks like he's shaking him up a little bit, and it would anyone. That was a really forceful tackle. But despite being on the wrong side of the scoreboard, number 8, Lorenzo Lelli, he can really hold his head really high. He's been excellent today.
He certainly has. And Queens clapping off the injured player. Hopefully everything is all good with that gentleman. As we set for the scrum. Filippo Parasmo, the senior, out of Rome, Italy, with the ball. Gets ready to feed it into the scrum once more. It's at the back for Larson Weinberg. Larson Weinberg has made a couple of good runs off the bench as well. The man out of Santiago in Chile. And the referee spots an almost penalty there, but Thomas More do enough to turn it over. Lally taking it into contact. He's tried his heart out for 80 minutes. Here's Lorenzo Lally. Here they go. Thomas More playing down the right far touchline. It's in the hands now of number 19, Grayson Lawson. Looking to try and spark something. Wild. Gets it off to the try scorer, Salim. Wild. Sooner. Just going a bit sideways at the moment. Thomas More, that one goes backwards, so Lally again is there to clean it up. Wild again. It's spilt forward there by Holway Cassini. Unfortunate there for Thomas More. We have a scrum Packed down for Queens again. Just going sideways there, Thomas More. Just no one really breaking through that line, Craig.
Queen's defence has been brilliant all day. They're really showing why they're going to get themselves a ticket to Houston to play Brown next week. The defence has been brilliant. It's been very, very impressive. I think a lot of kudos needs to go to the coaching staff, but also to the players who bring it.
Well, you can see we're well into overtime here. 37 points to 19. All they need to do is kick it out, and they certainly do. Queens, the Royals, get the crown today against the Thomas More Saints. 37 points to 19. They were definitely the deserved team, and they are off to Houston next weekend. Fantastic defensive display and scored some outstanding tries. That man off the bench, Trevon Reed. Craig, your thoughts on man of the match, but he certainly goes close just for his impact.
Yeah, Trevon Reed, what an impact he had. But my man of the match is going to go to number 6, Prince Louis Bush. He didn't see him too much, but my word, he was everywhere. Tackling, rucking, carrying. So number 6 for Queens, Prince Louis Bush. Brilliant play and well-deserved MVP. But I tell you what, Trevion Reed, he went mighty close. If I could give 2, that's who it would go to.
Brilliant stuff. It's been a massive day of National Collegiate Rugby. We've had the D1 AA semi-finals and the D1 semi-finals. And Brown and Queens go forward in the D1 division. The Louisville Cardinals went up in an absolute thriller against the Binghamton Devils. And in the first game of the day, Virginia Tech over St. Joe's. As you can see on screen there, the road to Houston is complete. Thank you very much for joining in. Craig Wilson, any final comments?
Yeah, just a credit to both teams. Thomas More, brilliant season, but they came against the Queens team who were absolutely brilliant today, deserved winners. Full respect to both teams, and I'm looking forward to seeing Queens next week in Houston.
Oh, that's all we've got time for on Next Level Rugby. This is your National Collegiate Rugby Championship, the road to Houston, live on NLR. We'll see you next time, ladies and gentlemen.